Hello there, friends and hunters, and welcome to Monster Hunter World. Today I'll be giving a beginner's guide to the Greatsword in Monster Hunter World, where I'll be going over both the moves and the builds to get you started. Not just a good sword, a great sword. A sword and shield? No. A charge blade? Nuh-uh. You have a great sword. It's very simple, but very hard, all at the same time. Wrap your head around that one. You're going to start off with the overhead slash. Yeah, sure. Very simple, very easy. Get it out of the way, whatever. Not going to do a ton of damage. 134, didn't even crit, who cares? But your real money is when you start getting into the charge slash. Crank that thing up to charge level 3, look at that, 422, almost 3 times the amount of damage there. Now, whenever you're building a greatsword, you want to go either for a true charge build or a crit draw build. If you're low rank, don't even bother. Just start from the bottom, get through the story, kill Xeno'jiiva, and then you can start worrying about actually doing stuff. Because until you finish that, you're not even playing the game yet. You're just kind of, you're still in the tutorial. You're not even actually doing anything yet. So, for a true charge build, what you want to do is you want to focus on the true charge slash. You start with your first charge slash. While holding forward, press triangle again for your second. While holding forward on the left stick again, crank that thing all the way up to 3. Get that true charge going. Now, one of the things that you have to remember, if you're going to make a build for true charge, you can't make it for critical draw at the same time. Now Behemoth did do some wonderful things. And the build that I'm working with right now is a mix of both. But at the same time, it's a mix of both, but it's kind of a jack of all trades, master of none thing going on. Like, I'm not perfect at critical draw, and I'm not perfect at true charge. It's just a beautiful thing to get the job done everywhere. Now, for true charge, all you're going to be focusing on is getting that true charge done. Just coming up to a monster, cranking out, getting all the way to that third true charge as fast as possible, and getting that hit in. Now, you say, oh, well, what if a monster's moving around a lot? Oh, say, let's Tobi-Kadachi, for instance. That thing's moving everywhere. Well, shoulder tackle. While holding triangle, you're going to press circle at the same time and move. Now, one little thing that's a neat little trick, if the monster is moving and you have to move at the same time, you have your sword drawn, shoulder tackle, move. Press triangle, shoulder tackle, move. Tap L1 and it'll move your camera where you're facing. Now I'll show that again. Get that charge up. Oh, they moved. Shoulder tackle. They move some more. Shoulder tackle. Tap L1. And you know where you're hitting. So you can always perfectly land that true charge. And that's just about it for true charge. Just shoulder barge through anything. If something's roaring, shoulder barge. If it's attacking, shoulder barge. If it's Nergigante plummeting down at you with the force of 1,000 tons, shoulder barge him. Alright? Just don't even worry about anything. Just shoulder barge through it. You have enough health. You have enough defense. Don't sell yourself short. Next up, you got critical draw. That's your initial draw slash. Now, some people rely on focus, some people don't. You can go either way. If I'm fighting against something fast, something like Kirin, something like Tobi Kadachi, things like that, you're going to want focus. Going against something a little bit slower, Anjanath, Behemoth, things like that, you might not need focus as much. See, now this build doesn't have any focus, but you see that initial hit did 410 damage. This has 2 ranks of critical draw on it. Now it's not maxed out, but just imagine you're just running up to a monster and just hitting it right in the face for 400 damage. Now, since this is a late game build, if I was just to run up and do a single, you're only getting about 200. Now, yes, that is close to half the damage of what a 3 charge is. See, that was 422 compared to the 187. So, you're hitting just under half for just a single charge. So, honestly, if you just don't have enough time and you just want to run in and get that single hit, it's not that bad. And now notice one thing that is almost key to the critical draw is rolling and sheathing. Because if you sit here, smack, and just tap square to sheath again, you're going to be taking forever. Now, for a crit draw, you're going to smack, roll, sheath. That's at least half the time compared to, oh, well, yeah, well, eventually sheath. Nope, nope, nope. Just smack, roll, sheath. Done. Now, the last note on movement, for builds anyway, is status builds. Now, you don't really want to do a status build for a greatsword. Greatswords are not too spectacular at doing status. Now, some people like them, even if they're pulling a greatsword. Like, there have been plenty of people to do sleep greatsword builds, or paralyzing, or poison, anything like that. Now, just to humor all those people, like, let's say even you, if you want to do a sleep hit, I have a couple sleep sets made. They're fun. It's just something nice to go out and just have a different kind of hunt with. Now, if you're going to be doing status hits, you always want to remember circle. So, wide slash. Circle after the triangle. That's going to build status a lot quicker than what triangle is. Now, the main one to build up status a lot quicker, you're going to press triangle and shoulder barge, and after the shoulder barge, press circle again. That jumping wide slash for the greatsword is what builds up the status the most. That is what you're going to be depending on if you're going to have a status build. And finally, the last couple things that aren't based on your build. First off, hills. Now, hills can lead to a lot of damage if you get it right. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to hold down the sprint button, which R1, press and hold triangle, get that third, like so. So, now what I did, hold R1 to slide, and as soon as you start sliding, press and hold triangle. Get the third, release triangle, press it again. So, R1, hold triangle, release, press triangle again. Now, there's a couple moves that are in the move pool for the greatsword that, don't even really matter. I mean, Rising Slash, for instance. Sure, if something's high up, maybe you could do it. But honestly, the only thing this is ever really used for is just tossing your friends in the air. That's about it. That's pretty much it. And then there's the side blow. And the only time, I mean, sure, if you have Slugger on your build to add for KO damage and there's a monster on the ground, sure, I guess you could go ahead and do the side blow and hit it and try to get some KO damage in. But if you want to be a hammer, get a freaking hammer, okay? Don't be using a greatsword like a hammer. The only time I should see you doing a side blow is if you walk up to me and say, "Hey buddy, good game." That's the only time I should see you using a side blow with a greatsword. Now, to go into the armor sets that you will be using with these builds. Now, again, starting off, you're not really going to be needing anything big. You can just start off, make the bone armor, start with that Buster Sword. That's more than enough to get through the first bit of the game, all of low rank. I mean, you got an attack boost there, you got a health boost, you got Slugger. And the Buster Sword has 398 attack with 0 affinity. Not bad. I mean, it's not a negative affinity. 398 is a pretty decent number to start at. But once you hit high rank, you're going to want to start farming Odogaron. Now, looking at this set, you're going to want to start going on that Jagras tree. Now, you're going to want to stick with the Jagras tree of the Greatsword up until you can do either just, if they're nice, and just give the quest, or during one of the special events where they have all the event quests back, to get a hold of the Wyvern Ignition. Because that is the Greatsword that you're just going to use for the rest of the game. Going down to the armor, though, you start off with the Odogaron Helm. Now, I would suggest farming Odogaron for this first. This is the first piece you're going to want to make, mostly because of that bleeding resistance. Now you see, I got 3 other pieces out of 4 more left that are Odogaron. You're going to want to get that bleeding resistance on there so you can continue to farm Odogaron and not have a million carts under your belt just starting off. Go down to Dobermail, 2 attack boost. Odogaron Vambraces have a Constitution and a Critical Eye. Odogaron Coil, Crit Eye, Speed Sharpening. Odogaron Greaves, Quick Sheath, and Crit Eye. Now, I have the Attack Charm there, and yes, you may not be able to get to Attack Charm 3 right as soon as you start this, but you will at least be able to make the very first level of the Attack Charm as soon as you get into high rank. Looking at all the skills, got Attack Boost level 5, Crit Eye level 5, Bleed Resistance level 2, Airborne level 1, Constitution 1, Quick Sheath 1, and Speed Sharpening 1. Now, Airborne is the jewel that I have in there, but Constitution, Quick Sheath, and Speed Sharpening are all just kind of byproducts of this set, but nothing is entirely wasted. Going down to the set bonus skills, however, you have Punishing Draw and Protective Polish. The Punishing Draw adds an extra knockout effect to your draw slash, and then Protective Polish keeps your weapon sharpness for up to a minute without it moving anywhere, as many hits as you want. So both of those are very nice for this basically introductory crit draw set. Now, once you finish the game, once you finally beat Xeno'jiiva, you know, the storyline of the game, you can actually get started into what Monster Hunter really is, which is a never-ending grind fest. That's the real Monster Hunter. Everything from Xeno'jiiva and before is just a tutorial. It's just getting you warmed up into the life of misery that is over 1,000 hours of your life just tossed away into hunting for gems. But I digress. Moving on to the first crit draw build you're going to want to make. Again, I have the Jagras Hacker put in here. This is the final stage of the Jagras Hacker. Now, like I said, this is a very nice tree to go on. Of course, I had this before they came out with the Wyvern Ignition, even before they came out with Deviljho. So, I mean, it's still a really good set to use for me, just for messing around, jumping in on other people's quests. It's not bad. It's still a pretty good standby. You got the Wrath Soul with a crit boost, Dobermail 2 attack boost, Basil Vambrace's beta 2 crit draw, Nergigante beta 2 attack boost, and the Jiraiya Greaves for 2 focus, and then a critical boost charm. Now to look at all the skills, we have a total of 5 attack boost, 3 crit boost, 2 weakness exploit, 2 focus, 2 crit draw, a slugger, airborne, and fortify. Now, fortify makes it to where when you feint, you get an added 10 attack and 15 defense with each feint. Now, it only works twice, but that's great for this being a, you know, I'm just getting started into farming tempered tier 2s and tempered elders. Well, here's you some extra attack and extra defense for whenever you're not really used to these monsters yet. Alright, so if you add it all up, note the sword right now with the attack boost obviously has 15% affinity. So go down to weakness exploit, that's an extra 30, so that puts it at 45% affinity. Crit draw, your draw slash is 60% affinity. See, so I don't even need, for this being a crit draw build, you don't need to have all 3 ranks of critical draw, because as of right now, on every draw slash, I'm hitting with 105% affinity. So every single draw slash, I'm going to crit. What you mainly want is the crit boost, because that's adding an extra 40% to every draw slash. So then you're hitting with 140% damage every single draw slash. So crank that all the way up to level 3, you're going to be doing some pretty good numbers. And this is just the starting set. Moving on to your next true charge build you're going to want to make. This is, again, starting off. This is after Xeno'jiiva. So all this stuff is fairly easy to come by right off the bat. I have the Wyvern Ignition slid into here. Next you got Dragon King Eye Patch Alpha, which has 2 weakness exploit, Dobermail Beta with 2 attack, Deathstench Beta with 2 focus, Nergigante with 2 attack, and Nergigante Beta for the legs with a maximum might. And then I have my Attack Charm 3 in there. So looking at all the skills here, you got 7 attack boost, 3 weakness exploit, 2 focus, a crit eye, a crit boost, fortify, maximum might, mind's eye and ballistics from a gem, and non-elemental boost also from a gem. The same with the fortify and a couple others. But the main skills here, since this is a true charge build, the main skills you want to focus on, attack boost and weakness exploit. Focus is nice. It's not necessarily needed. Some people say it's nice, some people hate it. It doesn't really matter which way you go. It's kind of a your choice kind of thing. Fortify, again, get that extra attack and defense for a feint. Maximum might. Increases affinity by 10%, which is while your stamina gauge is full. So when you're getting that true charge in, getting that sleep hit in, you're always going to have increased affinity. Going over to Mind's Eye and Ballistics, that is a very nice one, especially for true charge. Because, like, let's say you're farming up Nergigante. Nergigante, spikes turns black. You start bouncing off of them. You bounce off horns. You bounce off Radobon. You bounce off a whole bunch of different things. Well, Mind's Eye and Ballistics make sure that you don't bounce. Anything that you would bounce on, you're not going to. You're just going to go straight through it. Now, I will say that this jewel took me over 500 hours to find. So, you know, if you're lucky, slot it in there. If you're not, it's fine. Just kind of make sure you just aim for weak spots. But once you can get a hold of this thing, start slotting it in there. And then non-elemental boost, that's just standard on any greatsword that doesn't have an element. You might as well throw your greatsword out the window if you're not throwing this thing on there. Alright, now for the final crit draw and true charge build. Both are very similar because the Behemoth and the Final Fantasy collaboration for Monster Hunter World did a lot for it, especially for greatswords. Looking at this loadout, you got Diablo's Helm Beta with 2 crit draw, Draken Alpha, 2 crit eye and a crit boost, Kushala Gamma for 2 focus, Draken Alpha, 2 crit eye and a power prolonger, Draken Alpha Boots for 2 attack boost and a crit boost, and a 3 attack charm on there. Now this is for a critical draw build. Now I have level 6 attack, level 5 crit eye, level 3 crit boost, level 2 focus, level 2 critical draw, 1 weakness exploit, a power prolonger, fortify, and non-elemental boost. Again, if you go ahead, look at everything, I got 20% on the sword as it sits right now. Critical draw, that's 60, so that puts it at 80%. And then weakness exploit adds 15, so that's 95. Yes, it's not the same amount of crit because, well, critical eye is only level 5. So I don't have any of those gems. Every bit, sorry, I have one. I have 1 crit eye gem. All the rest of those are coming straight from the armor. So the second I get another critical eye gem, this is going to be at 100% affinity on a draw slash. Right now it's at 95. 95 ain't nothing to sneeze at though, especially with all this power from the 6 attack. So once I get that 1 more crit eye jewel, this build will be perfect. The true charge build, got Draken Alpha Helm, Draken Alpha Mail, Draken Alpha Vambraces, Damascus Beta, and Draken Greaves with an attack charm. Looking at these, you got 7 attack, 5 crit eye, 3 crit boost, 2 weakness exploit, 1 focus, 1 airborne, 1 peak performance, 1 fortify, maximum might, and a non-elemental boost. Almost every single skill on here is just amazing for greatsword. Now, to get into a slightly niche area of, questing, but this is one of my mess around builds. A lot of people have talked about this. I really enjoyed it. It is really nice. Excuse me. It is really nice for just going out and doing solo farms of Tempered Elder Dragons, and not only can you do the 30 minutes without even, barely paying attention, but you can do a 15-minute with no issue because of all of the skills that come with this. Now, one of the main things you want here is the health regen on the greatsword. Even if you're not doing this build is centered around healing and defense. But even without this build, health regen on the greatsword is just amazing. You gain 10% health back for every hit you do. Now, with my true charge hits, for an awake monster, not a sleeping monster, I'm hitting around 800 to 900 on that final true charge. I get 10% back of that. So that's 90 points back to my health. If I'm at half or even a little bit below half, I'm going to be fully healed with 1 hit. Going down and looking at what we got here, we got Guild Cross Circlet Beta for the head, Valhazak Beta with 2 recovery speed, got Valhazak Braces Beta with 1 peak performance, Valhazak Coil Beta with another peak performance, Kushala Cruz Alpha with 2 Evade Extender and a Handicraft. Evade Extender is just mostly to make sure you can just get out of the way of anything you don't want to block. and a defense charm level 3. Looking at the skills, get defense boost level 7, health boost level 3, recovery speed level 3, peak performance level 3, recovery up level 2, evade extender level 2, divine blessing level 2, handicraft, and non-elemental boost. Now, I do have the other 4 pieces of defense boost slotted in as gems. However, these are only level 1 jewels. Jewels, gems, same difference. Jewels, sorry. They're all level 1 jewels. So it is not going to take much to get a hold of these. Health boost, also level 1s. Recovery, also level 1s. I mean, all of these are going to be very easy to find and slot into this. This is why this is the beginning defense set. Moving on to what Kushala Gamma gave us. Now, looking at the set, it's not too much different. The only problem with the Valhazak Gamma is that there was the mandatory dragon attack that was thrown on there. Now, I haven't used the Valhazak Greatsword in a while, but I went ahead and, since I already had this one augmented, I went ahead and put the Valhazak Greatsword on this build. Now, the Deviljho Greatsword, while it has less affinity, it has more raw and better Elder Seal. So, if you're going after Elder Dragons, you want to use that dragon element, go ahead and use Deviljho as opposed to the Valhazak. But again, 7 defense, 5 dragon attack, 3 health boost, 3 recovery up, 3 recovery speed, 3 peak performance, airborne, and mind's eye and ballistics. And that just about wraps it up as far as the armors go. But a little side note, if you're gonna do a status build, you want to give your Palico the Meowlitov cocktail, and make sure you spam Wrath of Meow. And whatever status you want to go with, make sure you equip that weapon on your Palico as well. Like if you want sleep, I have the Bond Ball on mine right now. That's going to aid you in getting that monster to sleep a lot quicker. Alright, ladies and gentle hunters, this concludes the beginner's guide to the Greatsword. This has been Senor Slayer Gaming. Please like the video if you've enjoyed it or learned something new. And feel free to subscribe for more upcoming content on Monster Hunter World. See you later.